The Montauk Project Analogue in the US. Military bases, secret bunkers, experiments whispered about but never proven. In the 1980s, a strange story began to circulate about Camp Hero, a decommissioned Air Force base in Montauk, New York. According to conspiracy lore, this base became the center of a hidden project. Experiments in psychological warfare, electromagnetic manipulation, and even time travel itself. The Montauk Project remains one of America's most controversial legends. But stories of similar secret programs, mind control tests, psychic research, and strange time experiments ripple across the United States. Could there be truth hidden inside the rumors? Or are these tales just shadows of Cold War paranoia stretched into science fiction? The Montauk Project, as described by alleged insiders, was said to extend from the infamous MKUltra program. Where MKUltra tested drugs and hypnosis, Montauk supposedly pushed further, harnessing powerful radar equipment to manipulate minds, open portals, and even bend time itself. Witnesses spoke of children subjected to psychological conditioning, of beings summoned from other dimensions, and of a monster that was accidentally unleashed. These are incredible claims, but they echo real programs the US government has admitted to, making the line between fact and fantasy disturbingly thin. Let's dig deeper into the mystery that won't go away. Camp Hero sat abandoned for years, its giant sage radar tower looming over the Montauk coastline like a silent sentinel. Locals reported strange hums in the night, electrical interference that made their TVs go haywire, and unmarked military traffic at odd hours, long after the base was supposedly shut down. To conspiracy researchers, this was proof that the base was never truly shuttered. They believed something was still happening deep underground, hidden from public view. The official story was that the base was a relic, but for those who lived nearby, the abandoned facility felt very much alive, buzzing with an unseen energy. Much of the Montauk lore comes from a handful of alleged insiders. First, there was Preston Nichols, an electrical engineer who claimed he worked on devices that could amplify psychic powers. He described machines capable of turning a psychic's thought into physical reality, materializing objects out of thin air. He even claimed his memories of the project were wiped, only to return years later. Then, Bielek took the story to another level entirely. He alleged he had been part of the infamous Philadelphia experiment in 1943, a supposed naval test to make a ship invisible, and was later transported through time to work at Montauk. Skeptics dismissed these accounts as elaborate fabrications, but these testimonies fueled decades of speculation, ensuring Montauk's story would never fully fade away. Unlike Montauk's wilder claims, the MKUltra program was horrifyingly real. From the 1950s through the 1970s, the CIA ran a series of mind control experiments, often on unwitting American citizens. They used drugs like LSD, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and even methods amounting to psychological torture, all in an attempt to weaponize the human mind. When these programs became public through congressional investigations, they shocked the nation. The fact that the government was willing to go to such dark lengths made people wonder, what else were they capable of? For many, Montauk seemed like a natural, if extreme, continuation of that same dark pursuit. Now, let's talk about the most sensational Montauk claims: time manipulation. According to the legend, gifted children, often runaways or orphans, were trained to act as psychic conduits. Their focused minds, amplified by the base's technology, could supposedly open time tunnels, glowing portals through which objects and even people could be sent. Some stories describe making contact with beings from other dimensions. Others tell of monstrous entities that were accidentally unleashed, nearly destroying the entire facility before the project was shut down. These accounts remain completely unverified, yet their persistence reveals how deeply they captured the public's imagination. Decades later, the Montauk story seeped from the fringe into mainstream pop culture. The hit Netflix series, Stranger Things, was originally titled Montauk, and was directly inspired by these legends. A secret government lab in a small town, children with psychic powers, a monstrous creature from another dimension. It all came from the stories told about Camp Hero. This blending of supposed fact and clear fiction only made the myth stronger. It cemented Montauk's legacy not just as a conspiracy theory, but as a modern American folktale, keeping it alive for a whole new generation. So, what are we to make of all this? The most common theory is that it was all a hoax. Many argue that Preston, Nichols and Bielek invented their stories for attention and to sell books, and that there's no credible evidence to back up their claims. Another theory suggests that real classified experiments did happen at Montauk, but their true nature was covered up by the fantastical stories of time travel. Given MKUltra's reality, some believe it's plausible that research into psychological warfare or electromagnetic influence occurred there. It's also possible these stories are simply a product of Cold War paranoia, a reflection of the era's anxieties about government secrecy, surveillance, and mind control. Perhaps the truth is a mix of all these things, a kernel of truth about experimental research, buried under layers of exaggeration, fear, and pure science fiction. In the end, the Montauk Project remains a fascinating story where the line between reality and science fiction completely blurs. Did Camp Hero hide dark experiments in its underground bunkers? Were children truly trained as psychic soldiers, or were these tales born from rumor and paranoia? What we do know is this: programs like MKUltra prove the US government was willing to push boundaries most of us would never imagine. And so Montauk endures as a symbol of secret labs, hidden experiments, and the tantalizing possibility that somewhere, just beyond what we're told, scientists may have reached through time itself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into America's hidden history, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next episode, where we'll explore the Jersey Devil and America's enduring cryptid mysteries. See you next time.